Jake Morrison walked through the crystal doors and felt his heart beating fast. He was the first human to ever stand in this room. The room was huge and round, like being inside a giant ball. Aliens hung from the ceiling, stuck to the walls, and floated in the air. Each one looked completely different from the others. Jake looked at his companion, Lisa Bradford. She stood next to him in her military uniform, her face calm even though he knew she must be nervous too. They had traveled for 3 weeks to get here. 3 weeks in a strange ship, eating strange food, trying to understand what was happening. The oldest alien in the room looked at them. It was see-through, like colored water, and kept changing colors. A voice came from it, deep and powerful like thunder from far away. You are accused of breaking the sanctuary protocols. Your world was protected, but you made weapons that can destroy planets. You split atoms. You created thinking machines. You started reaching beyond your star. Jake felt the words hit him like a punch. He knew this was coming, but it still shocked him. He looked at Lisa, then back at the alien. We did not know about any protocols, Jake said carefully. Nobody told us anything. Nobody came to warn us or guide us. We heard nothing until your probe came to our solar system 6 months ago. The aliens in the room started making noise. Some moved around nervously. One alien that looked like a giant metal insect made a clicking sound. Jake's translator in his ear turned the clicks into words. Not knowing does not make you innocent, human. Your kind was lifted up from the Stone Age by the precursors. They gave you language. They gave you farming. They gave you the start of civilization. You were supposed to grow peacefully. You were supposed to be watched until you were ready to join us. Lisa spoke up. We have no records of this. Our scientists found evidence that we developed naturally over hundreds of thousands of years. Your memory is short, the metal insect said. It has only been 12,000 of your years since they helped you. That is nothing. A blink. Jake felt his mind spinning. 12,000 years ago. That was when humans stopped hunting and gathering and started farming. That was when civilization suddenly appeared. Scientists had always wondered why it happened so fast. If they gave us this gift, Jake said slowly, where were they when we needed help? Where were they during our diseases? Our wars when we almost went extinct? Nobody answered. The silence felt heavy. The old alien changed colors to something darker. That is not your concern. What matters is that you broke the rules of your development. You made weapons before you made peace. You reached for the stars while still fighting each other. So did many of you, Lisa said quietly. Every alien looked at her. I read the history records you gave us, she continued. The Karathi fought 3 world wars before they unified. The Nexian Collective killed 2 other species on their planet before going to space. The Draxian Empire conquered 47 worlds before joining this council. The old alien's colors changed rapidly. You go too far, human. Do I? Lisa's voice stayed calm but strong. You judge us by standards you did not meet yourselves. You blame us for surviving in a universe that gave us no help, no guidance, no hope except what we made ourselves. Enough, the old alien commanded. You are here to answer for what you did wrong, not to question us. Jake stepped forward. Then let me answer clearly. Yes, we have nuclear weapons. Yes, we have thinking machines. Yes, we still fight sometimes. But we are also the species that looked at the stars and dreamed of touching them. We are the species that faced extinction and chose to survive. We are the species that was left alone in the dark and learned to make our own light. He stopped and let his words sink in. You want to know if we are ready to join you? Then tell us this. What happened to the precursors who helped us? Where are they now? The silence was complete. Nothing moved. Finally, the old alien spoke, and for the first time its color showed something that looked like fear. They invaded Earth, it said quietly, 200 years ago by your calendar. 50 warships came to take your world as a colony once you had developed enough. Jake felt like he had been hit. What happened to them? The old alien's color shifted to something Jake's translator could not read. That, it said, is why you are here. The room stayed silent. Jake looked at Lisa. Her face had gone pale. 50 warships, 200 years ago. That would have been around 1825. The age of sailing ships and early factories. Earth should have been helpless, show us, Lisa said. Her voice was barely a whisper. The old alien waved something that might have been a hand. A picture appeared in the air in front of them. It showed Earth from space. It showed 50 huge ships appearing around the planet. Ships bigger than cities. This is the precursor battle group, the old alien explained. The Vryn Empire had watched your world for 10,000 years. They had guided your development quietly. They shaped you to have traits they wanted. Endurance, ability to adapt, aggression balanced with cooperation. Lisa's hands became fists. They were breeding us. Like animals. They were preparing you, the metal insect said, like you might prepare cattle. The Vryn wanted to harvest your people as soldiers and workers once you reached the right level. Jake felt sick. Show us what happened. The picture changed. It zoomed in on the lead Vryn ship. It was ugly and covered with weapons. A beam of light shot down to Earth's surface. They sent their demand for surrender to every major city at once, the old alien continued. In every human language. They expected you to give up within one day. We did not, Lisa said. It was not a question. No, the old alien agreed. You did not. The picture moved forward in time. Ships started coming down from space, positioning themselves over big cities, London, Paris, Beijing, New York, Delhi. Then everything went wrong. The first Vryn ship exploded. It tore apart from the inside. Pieces fell into the Atlantic Ocean. Within seconds, 3 more exploded. The other ships tried to run back to space, but now Earth itself seemed to wake up and fight back. Jake watched in shock as old sailing ships changed. Their wooden hulls split open to show metal underneath. Metal covered with weapons that should not exist in 1825. Cannons that should fire iron balls instead fired streams of super-hot light. From coastal forts that looked ancient, missiles flew into the sky. What are we looking at? Lisa whispered. We have argued about that question for 200 years, the old alien replied. The Vryn ship's own recordings show that Earth's defense systems were already there. Already waiting. Hidden beneath what looked like primitive civilization. The picture showed the battle getting worse. More Vryn ships fell. Some were destroyed by weapons from the ground. Others were destroyed by defense stations that suddenly appeared around the moon. The few Vryn ships that managed to shoot back found their weapons bouncing off invisible shields or being absorbed by buildings that should not have any defenses. Within 6 hours, it was over. All 50 Vryn warships were destroyed. Not one survived. The Vryn Empire sent 3 more fleets over the next 10 years, the metal insect said. Its clicking sounded nervous. Each bigger than the last. Each with more weapons. None came back. The Empire spent all its money trying to take Earth back. They collapsed 2 generations later. Jake stared at the frozen picture of burning ships. But Earth's history shows nothing about this. We have detailed records from 1825. There is no mention of alien invasion. Exactly, the old alien said. That is what terrifies us. The picture changed again. Now it showed Earth from space. Jake watched as the debris from the Vryn fleet was collected and removed. As the defense stations vanished back into hiding. As the modified sailing ships returned to being simple wooden boats. Within weeks, Earth looked exactly as it had before the invasion. Clean, primitive, unaware. The old alien spoke softly. We have watched your world closely since then. We have never again detected the technology that destroyed the Vryn. Your civilization has continued to develop naturally. You discovered electricity. You invented computers. You split the atom, exactly as we would expect. But you think it is a lie, Lisa said flatly. You think we are hiding something? We know you are hiding something, the metal insect snapped. The question is whether you know you are hiding it. The picture in the air changed again. Jake Morrison could not stop staring at it. The old alien, the one called the eldest, made the picture show Earth as it looked 200 years ago, the year 1825. A time of sailing ships and early factories, a world that should not have been able to defend itself against anything, especially not advanced aliens. This is the precursor battle group, the eldest explained. 50 huge ships appeared in orbit around Earth. Each one was as big as a small city. The Vryn Empire had observed your world for 10,000 years. They had guided your development. They quietly influenced your evolution toward traits they found useful. Endurance, the ability to adapt. Aggression balanced with cooperation. Lisa Bradford leaned forward. Her jaw was tight. They were breeding us. Domesticating would be more accurate, the metal insect alien said. As you might domesticate cattle. The Vryn intended to harvest your population as soldiers and workers once you reached the right level of development. Jake's hands became fists. Show us what happened. The picture zoomed in on the lead Vryn ship. It was a monster of sharp angles and weapon batteries. A beam of light shot down toward the planet's surface. They sent their demand for surrender to every major population center at the same time, the eldest continued, in every human language. They expected submission within 1 day. They did not get it, Lisa said. It was not a question. No, the eldest agreed. They did not. The picture moved forward through several hours. Ships began coming down through Earth's atmosphere. They positioned themselves above major cities: London, Paris, Beijing, New York, Delhi. Then everything went wrong. The first Vrin ship exploded without warning. It was torn apart by something inside it. Debris rained down on the Atlantic Ocean. Within seconds, 3 more ships followed. The remaining ships tried to retreat to orbit, but now Earth itself seemed to come alive with hostility. Jake watched in stunned silence as old sailing ships transformed into something else. Wooden hulls split apart to show metal frameworks covered with weapons that had no business existing in 1825. Cannon fire that should have been iron balls became streams of superheated plasma. From coastal forts that appeared centuries old, missiles streaked into the sky. "What are we looking at?" Lisa whispered. "We have debated that question for 200 years, the eldest replied. The Vrin ship's own recordings show that Earth's defense systems were already in place and waiting, camouflaged, hidden beneath layers of apparent primitiveness. The picture showed the battle growing worse. More Vrin ships fell. Some were destroyed by weapons from the ground. Others were destroyed by what appeared to be defense platforms that suddenly appeared around the moon. The few Vrin ships that managed to return fire found their weapons either bounced off by invisible shields or simply absorbed by structures that should not have had any defensive capabilities. Within 6 hours, it was over. Of the 50 Vrin warships, not one survived. The Vrin Empire sent 3 more fleets over the next decade, the metal insect said. Its clicking sounded nervous, each larger than the last, each more heavily armed. None returned. The Empire bankrupted itself trying to reclaim Earth. They collapsed 2 generations later. Jake stared at the frozen image of burning ships falling from orbit, but Earth's historical records show nothing about this. We have detailed accounts from 1825. The wars between nations, the Industrial Revolution. There is no mention of alien invasion. Precisely, the eldest said. That is what terrifies us. The picture shifted again. Now it showed Earth from space. Satellite imagery, though Jake knew satellites had not existed in 1825. He watched as the debris from the Vrin fleet was systematically collected and removed, as the defensive installations vanished back into their camouflage, as the modified sailing ships returned to being simple wooden vessels. Within weeks, Earth looked exactly as it had before the invasion. Clean, primitive, unaware. We have monitored your world closely since then, the eldest continued. We have never again detected the technology that destroyed the Vrin. Your civilization has continued to develop along apparently natural lines. You discovered electricity. You invented computers. You split the atom, exactly as we would expect from a species like yours. But you think it is a lie, Lisa said flatly. You think we are hiding something? We know you are hiding something, the metal insect snapped. The question is whether you know you are hiding it. Jake turned to face the assembled council. Are you suggesting that there is some secret human organization that has had advanced technology for centuries? That they have been hiding it from the rest of us? We are suggesting, the eldest said carefully, that humanity may be more than it appears. That the Vrin may not have been uplifting a primitive species, but awakening something that was already there, something that did not appreciate the interference. A cold chill ran down Jake's spine. You are afraid of us. We are cautious, the eldest corrected. There is a difference, is there? Lisa challenged. You brought us here. You showed us this evidence, and now you are trying to decide what to do with us. Quarantine us? Destroy us? Hope we never figure out whatever it is you think we can do? The metal insect surged forward. Its body clanged against the floor. You dare to speak? She dares because she knows you cannot stop her. A new voice interrupted. It came from one of the aliens who had remained silent until now. This being appeared to be made of living shadow. Just as you could not stop the Vrin's destruction. Just as you could not stop any of the 4 subsequent invasion attempts that you neglected to mention. The eldest's colors flashed with anger. Counselor Shade, you overstep. Truth oversteps nothing, the shadow being replied. 9 separate civilizations have attempted to invade or infiltrate Earth over the past 2 centuries. 9. All have failed. Some vanished without trace. Some were returned to their home systems as wreckage, with no survivors to explain what happened. And in every case, Earth's human population remained completely unaware. Jake's mind reeled. 9 invasions, 9 failures, and humanity had noticed nothing. There is something on your world, the eldest said quietly. Something that defends it. Something that allows humanity to develop naturally while destroying any external threat. We need to know what it is. And if we do not know, Jake asked. The eldest's colors shifted to something that looked like resignation. Then we face a terrible choice. Allow a potential threat to continue developing unchecked or risk becoming the 10th invasion attempt. Lisa's hand moved slightly toward her sidearm, though Jake knew the weapon would be useless here. Is that a threat? It is a statement of fact, the eldest replied. The council is divided. Some believe humanity should be welcomed, that whatever protects your world might be an ally against the true dangers that lurk in the dark between stars. Others believe you should be contained, prevented from spreading until we understand what you are. And you? Jake asked.
What do you believe?
The eldest's colors went through a sequence the translator could not read. When it finally spoke, its voice was barely audible. I believe we are asking the wrong question. We keep asking what is defending Earth when perhaps we should be asking what Earth is defending. The picture shifted one final time. It zoomed out from Earth to show the solar system, then the local cluster, then the arm of the galaxy, and there, marked in red, were dozens of points. These are the locations of the precursors' lost colonies, the eldest explained. Worlds they seeded with life billions of years ago. Experiments in evolution and development. Most failed. Some succeeded. A handful achieved spaceflight and joined the galactic community. The view zoomed back to Earth, now highlighted in blue. Earth was one of their experiments, but our archaeological surveys of your solar system have revealed something disturbing. Evidence that Earth was not just seeded with life, but built, constructed. That your entire world is an artifact of such ancient technology that we can barely detect it. Jake felt his knees weaken. You are saying Earth itself is a ship? A weapon? We are saying we do not know what Earth is, the eldest replied. But whatever it is, it does not want to be disturbed. It will allow its surface inhabitants to develop naturally, but it will not allow external interference. And you thought bringing 2 humans here and telling them this was a good idea? Lisa's voice was sharp. What happens if we are the activation key? What happens if Earth is waiting for its surface population to learn the truth? The silence that followed was broken only by the nervous shifting of aliens who suddenly realized they might have made a terrible mistake. That, the eldest said quietly, is the other reason you are here. Jake looked at Lisa. In her eyes, he saw the same confusion and fear he felt. They had come here thinking they were going to explain humanity's development. Instead, they had learned that Earth itself might be something ancient and powerful. Something that had been protecting humanity without anyone knowing. What do you want from us? Jake asked finally. We want you to go home, the eldest said. We want you to return to Earth and we want to see what happens. You are using us as a test, Lisa said. We are giving you information that might trigger whatever defends your world, the eldest admitted. If nothing happens, if Earth remains dormant, then perhaps we can continue as before. Watching, waiting. If something activates. Jake Morrison stood in the observation room of the council's ship and watched Earth grow larger in the window. 3 weeks had passed since the revelation in the council chamber. 3 weeks of debates and arguments. 3 weeks of trying to understand what it all meant. In the end, the council had reached a decision. Send the humans home and see what happens. This is crazy, Lisa Bradford said beside him. She had been saying the same thing for days. They have no idea what we might trigger just by returning. They know exactly what they are doing, Jake replied quietly. This is a test. If we go back to Earth and nothing changes, they can continue watching us from far away. If something activates, they will know we are a threat. And then what? They destroy us? Jake looked at her. Could they? It was the question that haunted every conversation now. If Earth really had destroyed 9 invasion fleets without its population even noticing, what could the Council possibly do if humanity became hostile? The answer was simple. They could do nothing at all. The door behind them opened. Captain Greg Santos walked in. He was the pilot who would be taking them down to the surface. He was a veteran of the Council's diplomatic corps who had been very quiet during their return journey. We will be entering orbit in 2 hours, he said. Landing site is Andrews Air Force Base just outside Washington. They are expecting us. What have they been told? Lisa asked. Nothing, Greg replied. Official story is that you have been on a diplomatic mission to a classified location. Everything else is sealed under council protocols until you decide otherwise. Jake turned to face him. You are human. Born on Earth, according to your file. How did you end up working for the council? Greg was silent for a long moment. My mother was a physicist. She worked at a big research facility. She disappeared 30 years ago during an experiment. Just vanished in the middle of a test. No body, no explanation. The official report said equipment failure, but I never believed it. He moved to the window and stared down at Earth. 6 months after she disappeared, I got a message. Just 3 words, I am safe. The message came from a communication satellite that officially does not exist. I started searching. I found evidence of a whole secret network. Technology that should not exist. Programs that have no funding records. And I found the council. You think your mother is still alive? Jake asked. I think she found something she was not supposed to find, Greg replied. Something that required removal from normal life. The council recruited me 5 years later. They said they needed humans who could move between both worlds. I have been searching ever since, Lisa frowned. Both worlds? What does that mean? You will see, Greg said mysteriously. Once you're back on Earth, start looking at the people around you. Really looking. Some of them will feel different. Wrong somehow. Like they are not quite in sync with everyone else. Those are the ones who know. Know what? Jake demanded. Greg smiled sadly. That they are not alone down there. Before either of them could ask more questions, an alarm sounded throughout the ship. The lights in the observation room shifted to amber. What is happening? Lisa moved toward the door. Her military training took over. Unknown contact, Greg said, checking a display panel. Something just appeared on our sensors. Coming from Earth. The window automatically zoomed in. Jake felt his breath catch. Rising from Earth's surface was a craft unlike anything he had seen in the Council's fleet. It was enormous, easily bigger than their diplomatic ship. Its surface seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. It reflected the stars around it in ways that should not be possible. Tell me that is one of yours, Lisa said to Greg. It is not, he whispered. It is not. The Council ship's communication system crackled to life. A voice spoke, clear and human, with an American accent that could have come from any small town in the country. Council vessel, this is Earth Defense Platform 7. You are carrying human citizens Jake Morrison and Lisa Bradford. We are here to escort them home. Jake and Lisa looked at each other in shock. Platform 7? Lisa repeated. There are at least 7 of these things? The voice continued, almost apologetic. We have been listening to your council meetings. All of them. We figured it was time for a more direct conversation. Permission to come aboard? Jake activated the communication panel. Who are you? There was a pause, then a chuckle. That is complicated. I am Staff Sergeant Danny Pierce, United States Air Force. Well, I was. That was 43 years ago. Time works differently up here. Up where? Lisa demanded. You will see when you get home, Danny replied. The council wanted to know what is defending Earth. We are. We have always been here. We are just really good at not being noticed. The metal-like ship moved closer. Now Jake could see that it was not alone. Dozens more were appearing, phasing into visibility around Earth like stars coming out at dusk. They had been there all along, hidden, watching. How many? Jake asked softly. Enough, Danny replied. The council does not need to fear us. We are not interested in expansion or conquest. We are just doing what humans have always done, protecting home. But they were right about one thing. Earth is more than it appears. And now that you know, you get to make a choice. What choice? Lisa asked. Whether to join us up here or go back down there and forget you ever learned the truth. Both options are valid. Both are needed. The people on the surface live their lives. They push humanity forward naturally. The people up here make sure they get the chance. Jake looked at Lisa. In her eyes, he saw his own confusion reflected back. The comfortable lie of not knowing or the terrible truth of awareness. There is a third option, Jake said carefully. We go back to Earth, we remember everything. And we help connect those who know with those who do not. The silence stretched for several seconds. That, Danny finally said, is the answer we have been hoping someone would give for 200 years. Welcome home, Ambassador Morrison. Commander Bradford, welcome to the truth. The metal ship extended a docking tube. Jake knew that everything was about to change. The council thought they were sending 2 humans back to Earth as an experiment, a test of whether humanity was a threat. They had no idea they had just made first contact with humanity's real civilization, the one that had been waiting in the dark for centuries, defending a world that did not know it needed defending, the one that was about to stop hiding. Jake and Lisa walked through the docking tube. The interior of Earth Defense Platform 7 was nothing like Jake had expected. Instead of cold metal corridors and harsh lighting, he found himself in spaces that felt almost alive. The walls glowed with a soft, warm light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The air smelled fresh, like pine trees and rain. Impossible for a space station. Danny Pierce was waiting for them in a large room. He was younger than Jake had expected, maybe in his 30s. With lines around his eyes that suggested he laughed often, he stood relaxed, like someone who had long since stopped being surprised by impossible things. "I know what you are thinking," Danny said. He gestured at the walls. "How does this exist? How did we build it? Why does it not show up on telescopes?" He smiled. "Wrong questions. You should be asking, when did we build it?" "When?" Lisa asked, her hand still hovering near her weapon even though she knew it was probably useless here. 300,000 years ago, give or take," Danny replied, though "we" is a complicated term. "Walk with me." He led them through corridors that curved in ways that should not have been possible. They passed other humans going about their business. Some wore uniforms Jake recognized from various Earth militaries. Others wore clothes that looked like they came from different centuries. One woman passed by in what looked like ancient Roman armor. She nodded politely as she went. "Earth has been conscious for a very long time," Danny explained. "Not conscious like we are. More like how a tree is conscious. Or an ocean, aware of itself. Aware of threats. But operating on timescales we can barely understand. When the precursors came 300,000 years ago, they tried to change Earth, reshape it for their own purposes." He stopped at a window that looked out over Earth, though from an angle that suggested they were much farther out than their docking position indicated. Earth said no. It had already been growing life for billions of years, experimenting, evolving. The precursors were an intrusion. So Earth created antibodies, humans, Jake said softly. Among others, Danny confirmed, humans were Earth's way of creating defenders who could think, adapt, and fight in ways the precursors would not expect. The precursors thought they were uplifting us. They were actually giving Earth exactly what it needed. A species capable of using the same technology they had. Lisa moved closer to the window. "But humans on the surface do not have this technology. We barely made it into space with chemical rockets. Surface humanity develops naturally," Danny said. "That is important. Earth needs its people to evolve on their own, to create their own civilizations, their own solutions. That is where innovation comes from. That is where new ideas emerge. But when threats come from outside, some of us are called up here." "Called how?" Jake asked. "You ever have a moment where time seemed to skip? Where you found yourself somewhere with no memory of how you got there? Where you did something impossible without knowing how?" Danny's eyes were distant. "And the people on the surface never know," Jake said. "Would you want them to?" Danny asked back. "Would you want humanity to grow up knowing that 9 different civilizations tried to conquer them? That they are living on something that could destroy continents? Or would you want them to develop art, music, science, philosophy, all the things that make humanity worth defending in the first place?" He had a point, Jake realized. The humanity that had created great works of art and science had done so believing they were alone in a huge universe. Would they have achieved the same things knowing they were part of a cosmic conflict? "The Council thinks we are hiding weapons," Lisa said. "They are not entirely wrong." "No," Danny agreed. "But we are not hiding them from outside threats. We are hiding them from ourselves. From the humans on the surface who are not ready for the responsibility. Every species that reaches for the stars faces the same temptation. To take what they want by force. To impose their will on others. Earth is teaching humanity to reach the stars for better reasons." He made a gesture and the window view changed. Now they were looking at Mars, but not as Jake remembered it. Green covered parts of the surface. Clouds swirled in an atmosphere that should not exist. "This is Mars in about 50 years if current surface development continues," Danny explained. "Changed into a livable world, colonized, turned into a second home. The people on Earth will do that. They will figure out the science. The logistics, the cooperation required, and they will do it without knowing that we have been preparing the way for decades, removing the biggest problems, making sure they succeed. That is manipulation, Lisa said flatly. That is parenting, Danny replied. Earth is raising its children. One day they will be ready to know the truth. One day they will join us up here, and we will face the universe together, surface and platform as one. But until then, we protect them from threats they are not ready to face, and we protect the universe from weapons they are not ready to control. Jake moved to the window. He stared at Earth below. From here he could see the faint shimmer of the defense platforms now that he knew what to look for. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds wrapped around the planet. What do you need from us? He asked. The Council is going to push, Danny said. They are going to demand answers. They are going to want inspections, treaties, guarantees. We need you to give them just enough truth to satisfy them, while protecting the larger secret. Tell them that Earth has defense systems, ancient systems. Tell them that we are not a threat unless threatened, but do not tell them that Earth itself is alive. Do not tell them that every human carries a piece of that consciousness inside them, waiting to be activated. Why not? Lisa demanded. Because then they would know that anywhere humans go, Earth goes, that every colony we establish, every world we settle, carries the seed of Earth's awareness. In 1,000 years, 10,000, the galaxy could be full of awakened worlds, all connected, all protecting life the way Earth does. Danny's smile was gentle. That would terrify them more than any weapon. Jake understood. Earth was not planning to conquer the galaxy. It was planning to change it, to spread its particular way of protecting life across the stars. Not through force, but through the simple act of humans living, growing, and carrying a piece of home with them wherever they went. And if we refuse? Lisa asked. If we tell the Council everything? Then you tell them, Danny said simply. Earth will not stop you. Free will matters here. But know that the Council would likely quarantine Earth or worse. They might succeed for a while, and humanity on the surface would continue on, not knowing the truth, while up here we would have to become more isolated. Progress would slow. The dream of a galaxy where life is valued and protected would fade. He looked between them. Or you can help us build connections. Slowly integrate the Council into Earth's vision. Show them that we are not a threat, but a potential ally against the real dangers out there. What real dangers? Jake asked. Danny's face darkened. You think the precursors were the only ancient civilization? That the Vryn were the only conquerors? The galaxy is old. Really old. There are things lurking in the dark between stars that make the Council's worst nightmares look like children's stories. Earth has been watching, preparing. We are not the only living world out there, but we might be the first one that can fight back. The weight of that statement settled over the room. Jake thought about his life on Earth, his career as a diplomat, all the small conflicts and negotiations that had seemed so important. All of it had been preparation for this moment. Earth had been shaping him, guiding him toward this choice. We will need time, he said finally. Time to process this. Time to decide how to present this to the Council. Take the time you need, Danny replied. But know that the Council's patience is not endless. They will want answers soon. They will want proof that humanity is either safe to integrate or necessary to contain. Then let us give them a demonstration, Lisa said suddenly. Both men turned to look at her. Not of weapons. Of potential. Show them what humans can do when we are protecting something we care about. Show them that Earth's children are worth investing in, not containing. Danny's smile returned, bright and strong. Now you are thinking like one of us. Welcome to Earth Defense, Commander, Ambassador. Welcome to the truth behind the truth. As they stood there, looking down at the planet that was so much more than it appeared, Jake Morrison felt the full weight of the choice before them. They could be the connection between two humanities, for they could let the gap widen until it became impossible to cross. He knew which choice he would make. He thought Lisa did too. The Council wanted to know what was defending Earth. Soon they would learn a harder truth. That Earth was defending the galaxy one human at a time, preparing for a future where life won over the dark, and that future was closer than anyone realized. Days passed as Jake and Lisa learned more about the defense platforms. They met people from different centuries, scientists who had been pulled up during experiments, soldiers who had vanished during battles, artists who had disappeared while creating their greatest works. All of them had been chosen by Earth for specific reasons. All of them had agreed to stay and help protect the world below. How does it choose? Jake asked Danny one evening as they sat in what Danny called the observation lounge. It was a room with windows on all sides showing Earth and the stars and the hidden platforms that surrounded their home. Nobody knows exactly, Danny admitted. Sometimes it seems to be about skill. A physicist who understands quantum mechanics, a general who knows strategy. Sometimes it is about personality, someone who can see the big picture, someone who will not panic when they learn the truth. And sometimes it seems random, like Earth is experimenting, trying different combinations to see what works. Have any ever refused? Lisa asked. She was sitting nearby, still processing everything they had learned. A few, Danny said. They are returned to the surface. Their memories adjusted, so they do not remember what they saw up here. Earth does not force anyone, but most people, once they understand what is at stake, choose to stay, or at least to help part-time. Part-time? Jake raised an eyebrow. Some people split their time, Danny explained. They live on the surface, have families, normal jobs, but they come up here regularly. They help with research or planning or training. They are the real bridges between the two worlds, the ones who keep surface humanity's needs and desires in focus while we do the big picture work. Jake looked out at Earth. Somewhere down there, billions of people were living their lives, going to work, falling in love, raising children, creating art, discovering science, all of them unaware that above them floated a network of defense, platforms staffed by people like him and Lisa, people who had learned the truth and chosen to protect those who had not. It was a heavy responsibility, but also a privilege. When do we go back to the council? Lisa asked. Soon, Danny said, but not to answer their questions. To ask our own. We have been hidden long enough. It is time for Earth to have a voice in galactic affairs, and you two are going to be that voice. He stood up and moved to the window. The council thinks they are testing us. They think they are deciding whether humanity is safe or dangerous. But really, we are testing them. We are deciding whether the galactic community is ready for what Earth has to offer, whether they can handle the truth, whether they deserve to be our partners or just our neighbors. Jake joined him at the window. And if they are not ready, then we wait, Danny said simply. We have been patient for 300,000 years. We can be patient a little longer, but I think they are ready. I think the galaxy is changing. The old powers are fading, new ones are rising, and threats are coming that will require cooperation on a scale nobody has seen before. Earth wants to be part of that cooperation, but as equals, not as subjects or children. Lisa stood as well, completing the trio at the window. What if they try to force the issue? What if they decide humanity is too dangerous and needs to be contained? Danny's smile was sad. Then they will learn what the 9 invasion fleets learned, that Earth does not contain easily. We will defend ourselves if we must, but I hope it does not come to that. I really do. The three of them stood in silence for a while. The council chamber was in chaos when Jake Morrison and Lisa Bradford returned. What was supposed to be a simple report had turned into something else entirely. They had not arrived in the council's diplomatic shuttle. Instead, they came in one of Earth's defense platforms. The metal-like ship had appeared directly above the council's primary station. Impossible to miss. Impossible to ignore. Now Jake stood before the assembled aliens once more. But this time he was not alone. Behind him, displayed on screens that the Earth ship had projected into the chamber without asking permission, were images that were changing everything the Council thought they knew about galactic history. These are the archaeological surveys of Earth's moon, Jake said. His voice was steady despite the huge importance of what he was revealing. The Council's own scientists did them 200 years ago, but kept the findings secret. I am now making them public for everyone present. The images showed structures beneath the lunar surface, not natural formations but built chambers, networks of tunnels, technology that was older than human civilization by hundreds of thousands of years. The precursors did not uplift humanity, Jake continued. They triggered us. We were already there, already designed, waiting in Earth's biosphere like seeds waiting for the right conditions to grow. When the precursors tried to change Earth, the planet defended itself by speeding up our evolution. The eldest colors flickered with distress. This is impossible. We have records. You have the precursors' records, Lisa interrupted, stepping forward. They lied. To themselves maybe, or to you. They convinced themselves they were guiding humanity's development, when really they were running from us. Every time they tried to control us, we pushed back. Every time they tried to reshape Earth, the planet adapted. After 12,000 years, they finally gave up and called us protected, because extremely dangerous would have raised too many questions. The metal insect alien surged forward. Its clicking sounded agitated. If this is true, then you have been deceiving the galaxy for thousands of years. You have hidden your true nature while watching civilizations rise and fall. We have hidden our defensive capabilities. Jake corrected. We have never hidden our nature. Humans have been exactly what we appear to be. Explorers, artists, warriors, dreamers. The only thing we have concealed is how well we can say no when someone threatens our home. The displays shifted. Now they showed sensor readings from the 9 invasion attempts. But these were not from Earth's perspective. They were from the invaders' own ships, recovered from debris fields by the Council's scouts. You have been lying to your own members, Lisa said. Her voice cut through the noise spreading across the chamber. You knew about these invasions. You classified them because you were afraid of what the answers might mean. Well, here is the answer. Earth defended itself, efficiently, completely, and without mercy for those who came as conquerors. She advanced on the eldest, fearless. But here is what you did not know. In every case where ships came in peace, we welcomed them. Every scientific probe, every observation satellite, every real attempt at peaceful contact was allowed. Some were even helped. We have been sharing our culture, our art, our music with the galaxy for decades through your own observation networks. We just did not announce ourselves. The shadow alien, Counselor Shade, spoke from its position on the wall. Why reveal yourselves now? Because Ambassador Morrison and Commander Bradford forced our hand, a new voice said. Danny Pierce appeared in the chamber, walking through the Council's security barriers as if they were not there. Several aliens jumped or moved back. They asked questions the Council could not answer. They pushed for truth in a system built on comfortable lies, so Earth decided it was time to answer. He moved to stand beside Jake and Lisa. Suddenly they looked like what they were, a unified front. Humanity presenting itself to the galaxy. We are not your enemy, Danny continued. We are not interested in conquest or domination. We are interested in one thing, protecting life, all life. The Council has done good work for thousands of years, maintaining peace, helping cooperation, but you have also grown comfortable. You have forgotten that the universe is dangerous. The displays changed again. Now they showed regions of space that Jake had never seen in any Council briefing. Dark zones where stars had gone silent. Systems where advanced civilizations had simply vanished. Strange things that suggested intelligence of a type and scale that was bigger than anything in the Council's experience. Earth has been watching these developments for centuries, Danny said quietly. We have been monitoring threats that you have either missed or chosen to ignore. The precursors fled into these dark zones 200 years ago. Some of them are still sending out distress calls, still running from something. The chamber fell silent. What are you suggesting? The eldest asked, its colors shifting to shades that looked deeply unsettled. I am suggesting that the Council faces a choice, Danny replied. You can continue to see Earth as a threat, waste resources trying to contain or destroy us, and face whatever is coming from the dark alone, or you can accept us as partners, not subjects, not members of your hierarchy, but equals working toward the same goal. And what goal is that? The metal insect demanded. Survival, Lisa said simply. Yours and ours. The galaxy is about to get much more dangerous. You need allies who know how to fight, who have been preparing for this. We need allies who have resources, knowledge, and structure spread across thousands of worlds. This does not have to be a fight. Jake pulled up one final image. It was Earth, but overlaid with networks of light that showed connections to satellites, space stations, and settlements throughout the solar system. Some of those settlements were publicly known. Many were not. This is humanity's current reach, he said. 50 years from now, we will have settlements in a dozen star systems. In 100 years, we will be spread across this entire sector. You cannot stop that. Even if you destroyed Earth tomorrow, the colonies would survive and eventually come looking for answers. So the question is not whether humanity will join the galactic community. The question is whether we do it as friends or as forces meeting in the dark. He let that sink in before continuing. Earth has a proposal. A treaty, if you will. We will share our defensive technology on a limited basis, help you strengthen key worlds against outside threats. We will join your scientific exchanges, contribute to your cultural programs, participate in your diplomatic forums. In return, you acknowledge our independence. You respect our territory, and you work with us to prepare for what is coming. And if we refuse? The eldest asked. Then we go our separate ways, Danny said. You pretend you never found us. We continue developing alone, and in a few centuries we meet again when humanity is ready to have this conversation on more equal terms. That is not what we prefer, but it is acceptable. The threat was clear but unspoken. If the Council rejected them now, the next time they met, Earth would be even stronger, even more established. The window for peaceful cooperation was now. Later, it might not be an option. Counselor Shade spoke again, its voice thoughtful. You have given us much to consider. But I have a question for the humans who stand before us. Not for the defense platforms or the planners, but for the individuals. Why does Earth protect its people? Why go to such lengths to make sure they develop naturally? Not knowing these wider conflicts. Jake looked at Lisa and Danny. It was a good question. Maybe the most important question. Because potential matters, Jake said finally. Every human on Earth carries possibilities we cannot predict. They might become scientists who solve problems we cannot imagine, artists who inspire generations, thinkers who ask questions we never thought to ask. If we burdened them with fear, with the constant knowledge of threats from the stars, they would spend their lives looking up in terror instead of wonder. He paused, choosing his words carefully. Earth is not just defending territory or resources. It is defending the possibility of what its children might become. We are protecting dreams. The Council has thousands of species, millions of worlds. But how many of them still dream? How many have become so focused on security and stability that they have forgotten how to imagine something truly new? The silence that followed was deep. Jake could see aliens shifting uncomfortably, perhaps recognizing a truth they had been avoiding. Earth offers the galaxy a gift, Lisa added softly. A reminder that life is worth more than just survival. That protecting the innocent, helping growth, and believing in potential are not weaknesses but strengths. You want to know why 9 invasion fleets failed? Because they came to conquer a planet. They should have been trying to understand a philosophy. The eldest colors went through a sequence that Jake's translator struggled to read. Finally, it settled on a shade of deep blue that apparently meant acceptance. The Council will debate your proposal, it said. It may take time. There are many factors to consider, many voices to hear. Take the time you need, Jake replied. But while you are debating, we would like to make a gesture of good faith. He nodded to Danny, who changed the displays. New images appeared. Designs for shield generators, early warning systems, communication networks. These are defensive technologies we are willing to share immediately, Jake said.